Good evening everyone, today we're going to be talking about the NGS headline because it just ended about 30 minutes ago at the time of this recording, and there's quite a lot of interesting things to cover. But before we jump into that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the first thing I want to talk about is, yes, we are getting the Stia region on December 7. It has been confirmed now, even though they pretty much leaked it on their own website as well as the limited time quest, but they never officially announced it that it was coming out on December 7th, but it now is official, so that's great. But on top of that, they actually showed us a lot of footage of the Stia region, including the Stia camp, the exploration zones, as well as the combat zones. They showed off a couple new mechanics and a couple of new trials. So one of the more interesting one is the Recon Gigantix. It's literally a gang of Gigantix and it's a special trial. So when that happens, you have to fight off a bunch of Gigantix. I don't know what level these Gigas are, but if they are all level 74, then you are royally screwed. I am royally screwed. We're all royally screwed if that ever does happen. Because imagine fighting 5 Gigantix all at once. Like, what do you do if you hold aggro? You just explode, since the Gigantix at level 74 are pretty much going to one-shot you. So I'm kind of wondering, where do these trials spawn? If they spawn in combat zones, well then that's going to be pretty traumatic. But you know, we're just going to have to wait and see. But it's a very interesting idea, and I'm definitely down for it because, you know, being able to kill 5 Gigantix in one go and get a lot of loot, that's a challenge I'm more than happy to take on. Next up, they show off a bunch of new Trainias. Of course, we're going to get new Trainias because that's how we're going to get our skill points. So we're going to get even more skill points since our level cap is being increased to level 70. So yeah, obviously we're going to need more skill points because we're also getting new skills. So we need extra skill points to allocate and learn all those new skills. So every weapon is getting a new skill, which is really, really nice. And according to the NGS team, it's going to make your weapon feel even better, even stronger, and cover its weaknesses, basically. I don't know how true that is. We're obviously going to have to test it when all of that does come out. They didn't show the katana, so that is a little bit unfortunate because you know me, you know, I really love the katana weapon, but it's okay. Stia is coming out in a week. Once all the content is available on the live servers, we're going to play it. We're going to figure out everything together. Now, something else they added in the exploration zones in Stia is quite interesting. They added these invisible boxes with valuable items and complex minerals. So think of complex minerals as randomite. So we're technically getting randomite in the open world. However, I don't know if these invisible boxes are going to respawn every week or every day or whatever, or if it's a one-time thing just like the red boxes. So you know, we're just gonna have to wait and see whether it's permanent or not, because it would be really cool if these invisible boxes was a weekly thing. That way we could just, you know, collect all these invisible boxes and then get basically randomite, and we wouldn't have to worry too much about minerals because that would be our weekly source of minerals. But I'm really hoping that these complex minerals are going to be a permanent feature in the game that respawn weekly. Now, next up is of course combat zone. So all of us, myself included, are sick and tired of farming in a combat zone and you see the PSE gauge go down. You're like, god dang it, it went down. Which guy killed a mob by accident? Oh my gosh, rage, anger, fuming. But don't worry, they added a pseudo sort of remedy to it. And basically, whenever the PSE gauge goes down 1 bar, you get an increased chance of getting a burst encore after your original PSE burst. So let's say you get really, really unlucky and you go all the way to the pity in order to get your PSE burst. Well then, right after that PSE burst, you have an extremely high chance of getting a PSE burst encore right after that, which kind of takes away the sting of constantly dropping PSE gauges. So now you won't get as frustrated whenever you drop a PSE bar, because you're going to get a notification as well as a little buff letting you guys know that, hey, the next PSE burst you get, there's a high chance of getting a PSE encore right after that. So it doesn't feel as bad. Yeah, I guess this is Sega's solution to the current situation. But then again, if it doesn't work out and we're still not satisfied with this system, feel free to continue complaining and Sega will think of something else to try to fix this issue. Now, of course, with the introduction of Stia, we are also getting chapter 4 of the story, which means we are getting new characters, we're getting new lore, we're getting new story finally. So that's pretty cool. And I really like the outfits as well as the weapons that the advanced team is using, especially Kanui, and Glenn is pretty cool as well, but I'm expecting to see their outfits in the next SG Scratch, not the coming one, but the one after. So in January is probably where we'll be able to get their outfits from the SG Scratch. Now, before I start talking about SG Scratch and AC Scratch stuff, the next thing I want to talk about is of course the new weapons, the new 8 8-star rarity weapons. So we knew about the effulgent weapons. These are the fire, flame-based weapons. However, they also showed off a new weapon called the Coclophus weapon series. That is quite the mouthful. But these weapons are unique in the sense that you have to exchange for these weapons. But something that a lot of people missed is when you exchange for these weapons from the vendor, they're actually Fixa Attack 3 already. So that's actually pretty cool. But from what they said in the NGS headline, these weapons are going to be more defensive based. Think of the Cuckoo Roseate weapons when we went to the Geometric Labyrinth, you know, it was like 50% damage reduction. It's something similar towards that. It's going to be a little bit more defensive based where we take less damage from dolls. So I could see this being very useful against specific trials. So let's say that, you know, we get that special trial where we have to fight 5 Gigantix at the same time. I could definitely see this weapon coming in extremely clutch. If, you know, all the Gigantix are only hitting you for half the amount of damage, then you could live a little bit longer and make your life just a little bit easier. But in order to get these weapons, you are going to have to collect a new mineral called Infernium. And this is, this is just a new mineral that's going to be spawning in the Steer region. It's a little bit like Blizzardium-ish. However, it is going to be easier to farm because hunting down Gigantix will drop this mineral, as well as gathering minerals in the exploration zones. Now, it wouldn't be a new region without a new urgent quest, and the new urgent quest is the Doldoris Vera Suppression Operation. It seems like we're only getting one urgent quest so far, and maybe we'll get like the second urgent quest like a couple weeks down, or maybe they'll surprise us with another one. We're just gonna have to wait and see on that. As for new battle dias, of course, we have the Stia Troopers as well as the Stia Devastators. So those are our yellow triggers as well as our purple triggers. So the purple triggers is definitely going to be the one that a lot of people are going to be farming for because, you know, new weapons, new augments, all of that stuff will all drop from the Stia Devastators or from the Gigantix. And on top of that, remember that new mineral we just talked about for that new weapon series that will also drop from Gigantix. So you might want to stock up on a bunch of your purple triggers right now. While we're on the topic of Gigantix, all of the Gigantix are going to be boosted up to level 74 since our max level is 70, so that is a thing. And of course, we are getting 2 new field races in the Steer region. There's going to be a nice tropical looking one, which is like on the outskirts of the volcano region, and there's one inside the volcano, which is kind of like a mecha plant looking thing. So that's pretty cool. Now, other than that, we are also getting a bunch of quality of life features. The first thing I want to talk about is, of course, we're getting a new face option called the Lively face option. I might be transitioning to this face type. I've been using the snippet face for who knows how long, ever since NGS came out, or ever since PSO2 came out actually, and I will be transitioning over to the Lively face simply because it gives you a little bit more customizability, especially with the eyelashes. So it's going to be a little bit easier to make my character look the way that I would like her to look, so that's pretty cool. So the nice thing about this is we will be getting this face option for free, so you know, you don't need to spend any money or any SG or AC or anything in order to get this face. You just automatically unlock it the moment Stia comes out. But other than that, they've added a ton of quality of life features. So for example, your mag buff, you know, when your mag buff was running low, you had like 2 minutes left or 5 minutes left, you couldn't refresh it, you had to wait for it to expire. Now you can refresh it immediately just by going to the mag device, feed it again, and boom, refreshes your buff and you're good to go. Next quality of life change is the SG scratch. When we go to the prize list over here, you don't know what is new and what is old because it doesn't tell you. It literally just tells you like, oh, these are featured and that's it. Well, they're going to be changing that on December 14, and they're going to be adding in new labels letting us know what is new and what is not new, as well as what items are limited time for this specific SG scratch and will be going away when the new one rolls in. So this is a really good change because it was such a pain in the butt to find out what was going away, what is staying, all that stuff. So now they're just adding it in, so very good quality of life change. Now you can also use your Ryuker device while you're in battle. This is really nice. I always hated it when I just TP'd into a combat zone and I couldn't switch blocks to where all my friends are or whatever because there was like a minion aggro to me like 50,000 gajillion miles away. It was super annoying. So now you can just access your Ryuker device, you can block change, you can eat food buff, you can do whatever you want very easily, even while you're in combat. Now keep in mind, even though you're in the Ryuker menu, you will take damage when enemies hit you. It doesn't make you invincible. The next quality of life change they've added in is auto join party features. So when you go into an urgent quest or a combat zone or an exploration zone, there'll be a little button on the top right, and you can just click it to automatically join any parties that are recruiting in that specific area that you're in, which is pretty convenient. But now to talk about all the AC and SG scratches. Now, of course, there is a metric butt ton of these AC scratches, so I'm not going to be covering them. However, the SG scratch is a little bit more interesting. I'm going to be covering this because the legendary reindeer costume is now coming out in NGS version. This reindeer costume is one of my favorite costumes. It's the ultimate troll costume, so being able to pick it up through the SG scratch is definitely a plus for me because I am a huge fan of this reindeer costume. I will be picking this up and I will be running around as a reindeer for maybe a couple days just because it's such a derpy looking outfit. Now, something that really surprised me was the limited time event Christmas 2022. It comes out on December 21st, so that is 2 weeks after the STIA region releases. So there is a little bit of downtime, but I am very surprised that we're getting another seasonal event this quickly. Literally 2 weeks downtime and boom, we get another seasonal event. That is really quick, but you know, I'm not complaining because seasonal events are very good ways to catch up. So just like the current seasonal event, we're gonna have a seasonal shop, we're gonna have seasonal points, we're gonna have special rappies, we're gonna have a new limited time quest. However, something special about this limited time quest is you can actually farm for SG tickets from the quest itself. So basically, you are incentivized to spam the limited time quest as many times as you can because you're gonna get SG tickets, you're gonna get special scratch tickets, so it's a win-win situation. Basically, you want to run this all day. However, on top of this, there is the new event weapon as well, and the new Tenebrois weapon is an 8-star rarity weapon which has the exact same augment as what our Christia weapons have right now, except it's just gonna be even stronger, and it is an elemental weapon. It is an ice elemental weapon with ice exploit 2, which is going to be extremely powerful in the STIA region because in the STIA region a lot of enemies are going to be weak to the ice element. So this is where ice exploit 2 is going to kick in because you're just going to get extra potency against those mobs specifically. But on top of that, you get the added in potency as well as crit rate, as well as damage reduction from fighting seasonal event enemies. So with these two buffs combined, basically these weapons are pretty much a no-brainer best in slot. So unless STIA comes out with an 8-star rarity weapon, which is going to be like the relic series quote unquote, or something outrageously strong, basically these event weapons are going to be the weapon that you're going to be using right after the 21st, because that is when the seasonal event kicks in. But keep in mind, STIA comes out on the 7th, so you will have 2 weeks where you're going to be weaponless, or maybe you're going to stick with your Kaiser weapon or your Obsidia weapon, or use the Prim Libra weapons, which you can get with your STIA expedition tickets, and maybe use that for the first 2 weeks and then upgrade to these once the seasonal event drops. Now, while we're talking about gear and weapons, I want to remind everyone that they are actually bringing back the AC Support Item Select 5, which is the exact same scratch as the AC Support Item Select 4. So remember all those Addi Capsules which boosted 2 attack stats as well as gave potency floor increase? Those augments are coming back. So if anyone was holding on to these augments hoping that they're going to go up in price, they're going to crash really soon, because now we know that this AC scratch is coming back on December 14th. So that is 1 week after STIA releases, so everyone will have time to figure out what is the best weapon for them, as well as the best armors and all of that stuff. And once all of the dust has settled, people are going to be buying these Addi Capsules and making their armors best in slot, as well as their weapons best in slot, so just keep that in mind. Now on December 14th, there is going to be the ARKS Cash Super Sale. This was originally available on the launch of the PS4 version of NGS, where everyone got 50% off on all purchases from the AC shop. Basically, you got 10,000 AC, which was worth $100, but you only had to pay $50, so 50% off. So this was really nice, and you can purchase this on multiple platforms as well if you're like a Giga Whale. However, do keep in mind that the PlayStation Store and the PC Store don't play nice with each other, so just be careful if you do play on both platforms, because I think the AC on the PlayStation Store won't show on the PC version when you log in on PC, and the PC AC doesn't show up if you log in on your PS4, something along those lines. But either way, this event is pretty nice, you know, being able to save a little bit of money because a 50% off discount is pretty nice. But last but not least, this is the thing that actually made me the most happiest. I was kind of blushing when this thing came out, and they are adding a new official logo Accessory. So this is for all official content creators starting from December 2022. Basically, if you are in the creator program, you get this nice little accessory which you can pop on your head, which says NGS official creator. So this is pretty nice for me because I've been making content for this game for the longest time. I'm hitting like the 2-year mark, maybe a little bit more, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm just glad that we're getting a little bit of recognition and we're getting this little accessory that you can plop on top of your head so people know that you're the real keroppi or the real content creator or whatever. So I am very thankful for this, but I know it doesn't apply to like anyone really. It's only a handful of people are going to be getting this, but hopefully this does encourage some more people to become official content creators. Now they did leave a little surprise at the end saying that if you are able to stay in the NGS official creators program for more than a year, you get like a special tag. I really hope that it's like star gem colored or like RGB-ish, but who knows, I don't know, we're just gonna wait and see. But I'm definitely gonna go for that 1-year mark in order to get that special accessory. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.
What can I say except you're welcome for the heals, the boosts, the